Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm glad some of you can join me. Hello. As you can see, I'm back home in my regular spot. Um, wow, something just popped up on my computer. Hold on a second. There you go. Sorry, I lost you there for a second, but you were there. Hi, my name is Peggy Sideratos. For those of you who don't know me, I am a former teacher and the author of the Light Giver Stories and the Light Giver Stories workbook, which are stories and lessons for children to help raise emotionally healthy children, that is that help to develop their character and teach them how to handle some problems. But today I'm coming to you with just my regular video uh, vlog. Yeah. Um, so you may notice that I'm wearing a t-shirt today that has a Greek flag, or maybe you don't even recognize it's a Greek flag. There's a reason for that. Today is actually Greek Independence Day, and it's a special day in Greek history because today is the bicentennial. It marks the 200th year of independence. And so for those of you who don't know, I am of Greek descent. I'm an American of Greek descent. Both my parents who came from Greece. And so born in the United States and coming from a family of Greeks, I've been blessed to share in the pride and of the history and the culture and all the beauty of these two incredible countries. So I feel extraordinarily blessed. And just a shout out to all my Greek friends, Zito Yelas. Um, and because today is Greek Independence Day, I thought that it was a great way to talk to you today about fostering the spirit of independence in children. Kids are always trying to kind of push the envelope of that. We know that independence is a great gift. And those who don't have it really, really want it. They crave it. And those who have it and maybe have had it all their lives and without it, well, take it for granted. And that's true for a lot of us. We just take for granted all the freedoms and the um, beautiful things that we could do as an independent person in an independent country. Um, but we all enjoy being independent and having the freedom to make our own choices and go our own way. It's something that we crave like early on. And you could see that with toddlers, right? You have like a 1.5 2 year old whose coordination is a little off, whose muscle development may not be all that it should be. But these little people, right? These little tiny people, they just want to do stuff on their own, right? They want to eat on their own or put their clothes on by themselves. And when you go to help them, right? Because we don't want to see them struggle, they, no, I do it. No, I do it, right? Because they want to be able to feel like they're in charge. They want to have that freedom and that spirit of independence. And um, it's a great thing to have because sometimes that spirit of independence drives us to do things that maybe people didn't think was possible. You know, it's something that's innate in us. And sometimes we conquer bigger mountains than people think that we can. It's behind it. So, as a teacher, I have been surprised many times by what kids are capable of. You know, sometimes we think, well, they're only 6 or they're only 10 or they're only 12. And yet we're shocked or surprised by what they're capable of doing, you know, maybe way beyond our expectations. Sometimes we think that we have to do things for kids that we may not necessarily need to do for them. So as adults, you know, it's just our natural instinct. We want to protect the kids from making mistakes. We don't want them to hurt themselves. But they're wanting to be self-sufficient, right? And it's natural. It becomes that little dance between the adult and the child, right? Where we as adults sometimes need to weigh. We have to kind of look at a situation and weigh whether indeed they're ready to take on something or if they're not prepared, right? And it's that delicate balance that we have to sometimes step back and evaluate before moving forward, because it's just our natural instinct to intervene in a lot of situations. Again, like I said, maybe it's because we don't want to see the kids struggle. Or it could very well be it's because we don't have the patience, right? We just want to fix it. Let's just take care of it. Let's fix it. Let's, move along. And we don't have the patience maybe to kind of let them figure things out. So when I first started teaching, and especially when I was teaching much younger children to read, I spent many years teaching first grade till kindergarten, and as such, you're basically teaching kids how to read. And the natural instinct when the kid's reading along and they get to a word that they don't know and they're going along and they're stuck and there's just, there's silence. And you're like, are they going to get it? Are they not going to get it? Let me just tell them the word. And then what I realized a little later on with a little bit more experience is that the best thing to do is not tell them that word right away. Give them a minute. Give them a minute to try and figure it out. Sometimes sounding it out helps. Sometimes it doesn't help. And sometimes they'll make a mistake. They'll read the word wrong. And as they go on and read the rest of the sentence, they go back and realize, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And they'll go back and realize, okay, I made a mistake. And that's what happens with all of us, right? Sometimes we're going along and we don't even realize that we're making a mistake. But then as we go a little further, we're like, oops, got to backtrack, got to go back. And kids do that as well with their reading. Sometimes same thing. There might be a math problem and the kid's looking at it blankly and they're like, and you're like, all right, let me just show you how to do this. But instead, it's better to give them a chance to wait. And if give them a chance to go take a look at it again. Say, you know what? This answer is not quite right. Go back and try it again. Give them that second chance. Give them that opportunity, right? It sounds like so simple, but it does take a lot of patience on our part because we're always on a go. We're in a hurry, right? Teachers have like 20, 30 kids in their class, maybe more. Parents got 5 million other things to do with themselves. We just want to go. We want to help them. We want to fix them. Here's the answer. Here's the solution. Here's how you do it. Let's move on. But sometimes we need to give them that opportunity to figure that stuff out. Sometimes we need to encourage them to take another look at it instead of just giving it to them really quickly. And sometimes it's not academic. Sometimes the issue is not academic. Sometimes it's an issue of there's a problem that your child's having with a friend. And they come to you and they say, you know what? So and so did this to me or this happened today. And your immediate thing is, let me tell you what you should do, or let me tell you how you should handle it, or let me call so and so's parent and we can fix it or handle it or work it out. Well, what if you just took a step back? What if you said to the kid, what do you think brought on this issue? Help them by having them take a step back. Maybe they were part of the issue. Did they play a part? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. We don't know. And then instead of just telling them, here's what you should do, ask them, what do you think is the best way to handle this? Do you have any ideas? And let them come up with a few. And don't rush if they don't give it to you in a minute. Give them some time. Tell them, you know what? Take a little bit of time. Think about it a little bit. Maybe you'll come up with a solution. And give them that time and then circle back and ask them, hey, did you think of anything? What kind of solution did you come up with? Or do you have any ideas on how you could better handle it? You'll be surprised at what kids will come up with. And of course, with most situations, there's more than one solution to each problem, right? It's not always just one. And theirs might surprise you. And yeah, okay, there's times when the kids come up with something and maybe it's not a good idea. and you might want to suggest a different idea and explain to them why one might be a better idea than the other. Okay, but ultimately, kids are going to do what they want to do. Of course, we can make suggestions, and sometimes failure is also a part of learning. And of course, I'm not talking about if there's a situation where any child is in any kind of danger whatsoever. Of course not. That's not what we're talking about. But it's a matter of giving kids the opportunity to have uh, some time to think about their own issues, some time to try and figure out solutions, and to move forward, because that's not only giving them a little bit of independence, it's it's also helping to build their confidence, and that's really important. I know a lot of times, and I've heard this from other parents that have spoken to me, and they've said, like, oh my gosh, it's a struggle in the morning. They don't want to get dressed, or it's like trying to figure out. And I've heard another parent say to them, oh, here's an idea. If the kid is giving you a hard time about options for clothes, lay out 3 different options. Tell them to choose one. You're still fostering that spirit of independence in them without making the choice for them. It's kind of just you're guiding them. You're giving them the parameters, right? Of course, we're not going to let the kid wear a snowsuit on the 4th of July or their bathing suit to school. But if we kind of try to guide them, give them the parameters, give them a little bit of a choice, still, even that helps to foster independence, this spirit of independence. Independence is basically it's always a power struggle, but whenever possible, I think that we should try to foster that spirit of kids. Um, because the truth is, if we do foster that spirit of independence in them, kids are going to be less intimidated and fearful to try other things. And sometimes it might even be a child who's older. Maybe they come home and they say to you, something, the teacher marked this wrong on my test. Or I did this homework assignment, I handed it in, and they have it marked as missing first. Let them go up to the teacher and say, hey, you know what? This is a mistake. Give them that push to try and do it on their own. Have them speak to the teacher on their own first before getting involved. And maybe you might not even have to get involved. Maybe they will be able to resolve it on their own. But help to push them when you can, right? Within the parameters of what is good and what is safe, of course, to do that. We know there is that dance. We're not going to let a 2-year-old handle a sharp knife. We're not going to give a 6-year-old the keys to a car. They have to be ready. And by the way, feel free to use these analogies to kids when they say, why can't I do this? And say, I wouldn't give a 2-year-old a sharp knife. I wouldn't give a 6-year-old the keys to my car. I don't think you're ready for this either, right? So that's a good way to give them an analogy. But we do have to balance it. We do have to come up to we have to go through this little struggle. We do have to be a little patient because it might take them a little bit longer. But the way the kids benefit from it is going to be tremendous. They're going to be less intimidated, as I said before, less fearful to try new things, and more likely to stand on their own. And are they going to fail? Sure. Sure, there's going to be times when we all fail. We do. But eventually, we get there. So that was my message for today. I hope that speaks to you. Just want to say to you, please like my page on Facebook, The Light Giver. Share this post with as many friends as possible to get this message out. And also, I'd like to invite you to like my YouTube page. I have a YouTube page called The Light Giver Stories, where I have a whole bunch of videos, some from my blog, some are stories and lessons. You can also see them on my website, www.thelightgiverstories.com, where you can get 2 free lessons from the Light Giver Stories workbook and 2 free stories from the Light Giver Stories book. Sorry, I'm really not very good at this. Um, Sent home to yourself. Just click on the little pop-up button that comes as soon as you go to the page. Give me your name and put in your email address, and they'll go right out to you. So please share. My books are available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. Um, and just remember, everybody, let's all practice being light givers, right? A light giver is somebody who spreads their light, their gifts, their talents, their love, their goodness with other people. So let's everybody take a moment every day to make sure that we try to spread our light to someone. Doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a compliment, could be a phone call to a friend, could be a smile, which I know a lot of times is difficult with the mask on. But big or small ways, just be a light giver, spread your love, spread your kindness, spread your light with everybody. And thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions about this blog, about my stories, about my lessons, please feel free to reach out to me at Peggy, P-E-G-G-Y, at thelightgiverstories.com. That's my email. Or if you want to, you can also put a little comment on the bottom of this page. Thank you all so much for joining me. I know that your time is precious, and I really do appreciate it. And have a beautiful and blessed day or evening, depending on where you are and the time that you're watching. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.